Alright, this is how I create a royalty-free cool rock track. Let's get in and have a look. Okay, so this track I actually put up on, I put a question up on Instagram saying what style music should I create for my next track? And I had a couple of responses, and one of them was a friend of mine who said Pearl Jam style. So I thought, oh okay, I'll do a Pearl Jam style. Not as if it's as easy just to do that. So that's where the inspiration for this came from. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what it sounds like. I'm not saying that's what it sounds like. It's where the inspiration came from, and that's something different. Anyway, so I thought this lovely 50s Strat would be the perfect one, the perfect guitar for that there choice. Let's have a little quick listen to see what it sounds like, and then I'll go through it. Okay, it starts off with just the guitar and bass. Coming in there. Just gonna have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Family, what are you disturbing me about? Rude. Right, here we go. Okay, you get the gist where that's going. So you kind of understand, maybe you feel where that sort of Pearl Jammy kind of feel may have come from. What does it go? What does it have? What happens here? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, yeah, so let's go through the track first then. So as always, we're using the Logic drums, where I've separated them out into snare, kick. It's riding hats basically. Crash cymbals. That says kick one. I need to change the name of that. We've got low tom, which is the wrong colour, but these are our toms. And then we have some like swooshing sounds here. So the drums, as always, you can go back on previous videos of mine and have a look to see how I set them up. I might actually do a video just about the drums and how to set them up in the future. If you would like to see that, then comment below or get in contact and I can do that for you. But I'm not going to go into detail about how I set them up again in this one. And the bass, as usual, is again Logic bass. Let's have a look at the compressor on this one. Yeah, so quite a low attack on there. High ratio. Low release, high threshold. This here needs to be, I think, more of a quick actual attack on the bass compression. But yeah, apart from that, we've got a little bit of EQ here, dropping off the end of the bass there. Not sure why that's had to happen, but it's obviously how it sounds in the mix. Let's take the EQ off. Just no EQ. Honestly, it's very subtle by the time you start playing around with it. But on the bass amp here, you can see we've got we've got compressors switched on here as well. So we've got two compressors running. I don't usually like to do that, but this track, for some reason, it felt like it needed the compressor in. It's probably a good idea just to use the one compressor. But we've got some EQ also going on here. So although I switch off the EQ here, we've probably got a lot going on here to shape the sound of that bass enough. But really, it's, Fuzz Drive, it's just a preset and I've just tweaked it a bit. And we've gone on from there. So here, again, my guitars are always, at the moment anyway, archetype Nolly. I've got a compressor on there. No particular overdrive. It's not bursting with any flavour here. It's it's just let's have a look over there. Let's change the. Let's have a look at the amp. So we've got like these two, this cab and this head set together, and everything is just point straight up. There's not a lot going on there, and the EQ, I think a tiny bit of high end, here. So medium. There we go. A little bit better. So okay, actually, let's make it small. Let's see if that gives us. There we go. Right, this cable is annoying me. Let's play back a bit of the guitar. So I've got hard pan left, hard pan right. Usually I put these together. Let's bring both on. You know, that's a pretty cool kind of tone. Oh, let's turn that off. Why is that on? Had to click on, sorry about that, that's a bit distracting. So, yeah, very cool tone there. Archetype Nolly, almost out of the box. I recommend it to anyone if you can afford it and you like your guitars, you know, to sound like this, or just metal. They do metal. It's brilliant. They brought out a Mesa Boogie amp now. I've not tried that one out, but you know, when I've got this, you don't really need anything else. It's just playing around. I mean, it's good to play around, isn't it? See what other sounds you get. So that's pretty cool. That's what I recommend. So in this track here, we've got this main riff that comes in. On here, we're using the neck pickup up here. Okay, and then let's got a bit of what could that's not actually harmonising. That's just another lead guitar. So I did think that was going to be harmonised, but no, it's just two tracks. Let's have a listen together. So you can see the panning over here on the left hand side. They go to there, ever so not quite centre. This backing guitar is slightly off to the right. Okay, which is pretty cool. And all together in a mix we've got. So that's Archetype Nolly. Okay, so let's have a look to see what's going on in this section here. So it looks like we've got a couple of Logic strings. We've got classic piano. Oh no, it's not classic piano. That is just what? That's just what it names it when you just open up a software instrument. These are, so that's labs. We've got labs, you can see here. We've got some lab strings going on. And here we have got just strings, which is Logic. So if I play this, let's solo them out and see what they sound like. Not sure what happened there. Okay, in the mix, what does that bring to the track? Let's bring it back a bit. Very subtle. that's interesting. So they're just very subtle in the background. I thought there was a little bit more to it than that. I don't know if something got missing. I remember putting in another piece there. Unless I accidentally removed it at some point. I don't know. I thought there was something else going on there, but maybe not. But yeah, it's very subtle. It sits in the background and it just brings the track back to the beginning again. So we've got our main intro, we've got the main riff, and then you think it's going to go into a different part of the track, but actually it just goes back to the start, but with these strings, just to sort of add to it. And just making sure I've got enough battery. And we have got the strings, yeah, and then it brings it, you know, with these guitars, half the amount of these guitars this time round, and then we bring into this next section here. So here we've got got another little main guitar riff coming on. It's just, yeah, where are you going? Again, archetype nollie, and these guitars. It's just, you know, bar chords, another, you know, power chords, just to change it into. So we're starting, and I think it's the same G. Actually, we're bringing it back to G still. Yeah, where are we? So we start on a G, and this. So usually when I do a breakdown, I would change it to almost the second from last chord, or just basically a different chord. It doesn't really matter which chord it is, but I've actually started with the same. So we're starting with the G again, which is quite unusual for like a breakdown or a subsection. You know, chorus, verse, bridge, whatever you want to call it. You'd usually take it into a different note, but yeah, we've left it on there, and it's just power chords, knowing that it's just going to break up the song. All that's going to do is just break up the song, and, you know, make it feel not so repetitive, and a little bit of lead guitar, just make it up on the way. But what I do like the sound of here is how this ride changes. So if you listen. So here we've got, we bring it in here, and we slow down the song with the ride. Actually, that's a hi-hat. It's not right. And then we bring in this other halfway through, just to break it up. Subtle changes that you wouldn't necessarily notice whilst listening to it, but you feel it without knowing. Yet you're feeling it, and it's all to do with what you can play with and add, change. It's not always about adding. Slight changes that you can do with the drums, and I love doing it. A nice bit of harmonised guitars there. Are they harmonised this time? Yeah, nice bit of harmonised guitars there to lead us back into the start. And down here, got a sample in the key of E. And what are these? Guitars ringing out. and we've got bass ringing out. And we got a slow rider, a riser. So bringing all that together. Okay, so basically it just loops back then into the first section. There's nothing particularly interesting here that's different from the first bit. We've got the pianos come backing in, like we have here. And then the end, back to this breakdown session. Back to the breakdown section. The same as what we had here is again pretty much repeated here. The only difference that we got here now is the end, the very end. Oh, and that finishes with a bang on the guitar. Sometimes I like to have it with a couple of kicks or a snare hit or something. But this one was just nicely had a bit of jug on the guitar. Don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter called The Riff. And on the newsletter is things that I come across, little tips that I have in my recording, podcasts that I'm listening to, books that I'm reading, any music that I may have listened to that week which you might want to listen to, but also the actual riff of the week to inspire you to think of what sort of riffs you can write, and pieces of music as well, like whole tracks, which I think are quite interesting. They've got nice little parts in them that you can put into your own music. So all that sort of stuff, it all goes in there. So sign up, subscribe to The Riff, and I'll see you in the next video.